Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's video will be a biography of one of my two times great grandfathers, Joseph William Pennington. Joseph was the oldest child of his parents, Samuel Pennington and Maria Henshaw, who were married at Cheadle on the 26th of September 1866. He was born on the 3rd of July 1867 at number 6 Park Street, Stockport. Stockport is around 8 miles south-east of Manchester in north-west England. When he was born, his father Samuel was 24 and his mother Maria was 22. Lord Derby was a Prime Minister at the time, and the 1867 Reform Act was given royal assent in August of that year. On the 14th of January 1868, Samuel Pennington, Joseph's father, and Joseph Pennington, who was Joseph William Pennington's paternal grandfather, dissolved their partnership as glass, china and earthenware dealers by mutual agreement. Joseph William Pennington was named after his paternal and maternal grandfathers. His paternal grandfather was called Joseph Pennington and his maternal grandfather was William Henshaw. In 1836 William set up the Stockport lorry works on Wellington Road North with William's brother Thomas, who was a wheelwright, and William Henshaw was a blacksmith. At the Stockport lorry works, tradesmen's vehicles were made, repaired and serviced. They also carried out the work of the blacksmith along with shoeing horses. Joseph's sister was born on the 18th of September 1869 in Stockport. Her name was Elizabeth Pennington. She was born at 6 St Peter's Gate. Sadly she died and was buried at Christ Church, Heaton Norris, on the 10th of November 1869. His next sibling, also called Elizabeth, full name Elizabeth Griffith Pennington, was born at 6 Peter's Gate on the 2nd of October 1870. On the 2nd of April 1871, he was recorded in the census living at 8 St Peter's Gate, Stockport, with his father Samuel, mother Maria, sister Elizabeth and uncle Henry Pennington. Between the 1871 census and the 5th of June 1873, the family moved to Whitehaven in Cumbria. On the 5th of June 1873, his brother Thomas Pennington was born at 80 George Street, Whitehaven. He died at 8 Michael Street, Whitehaven, on the 1st of June 1874 of hydrocephalus. His brother Frederick Pennington was born on the 26th of June 1875 at 8 Michael Street in Whitehaven. Brother Charles Pennington entered the world at 13 Church Street, Whitehaven on the 10th of January 1878. Samuel became bankrupt at Whitehaven in May 1878. Between 1878 and the 3rd of April 1881, the family appeared to have moved back to Lancashire, possibly in the Salford area of Lancashire. On the 3rd of April 1881, at the time of the census, Joseph was in the home of his uncle John Vorlance at 6 Sloane Street in Mosside. John Vorlance was a husband of Joseph's maternal aunt Emma, maiden surname Henshaw. His sister Elizabeth Griffith Pennington, aged 10, was also in the house at the time of the census. On the 4th of October 1881 in Salford, Joseph William Pennington's sister Mary Pennington was born. Between the birth of Mary and the 17th of May 1883, the family moved to the Radford area of Nottingham for some reason. On the 17th of May 1883, Joseph's brother Sam Pennington was born at 9 Osborne Terrace, Player Street, Radford. On the 11th of August 1883, Joseph's mother Maria and his 4 youngest siblings Frederick, Charles, Mary and baby Sam entered Nottingham Union Workhouse. The cause of entering the workhouse was destitution. Joseph didn't go into the workhouse during this time, neither did his father Samuel. Joseph eventually became a blacksmith, and it is believed that during this time he may have been serving his time as an apprentice to a blacksmith in Nottingham or in the Radford area of Nottingham. On the 3rd of September 1883, Frederick, Joseph William's brother, was sent to the training institution on Hartley Road, Radford, at the old Radford Workhouse, Nottingham, and possibly his brother Charles went to the same place. Joseph William's brother Frederick became a teacher and headmaster. He was the father of Donald Henshaw Pennington, who became a historian of 17th century England and author of books including Europe in the 17th century. His mother left Nottingham Union Workhouse on the 18th of October 1883 with his sister Mary. Joseph's baby brother Sam died on the same day and was buried at St Catherine's Church in Nottingham. Through looking at articles in the British newspaper archives, Joseph seemed to be heavily involved in sport throughout his life. He played a lot of cricket and football. Later on, he also became a referee of football. On the 14th of June 1884, he took 3 wickets in 3 balls while playing for Forster Street, Radford, against Sherwood United. On the 6th of October 1884, his mother died at Heaton Norris, Christchurch, Lancashire, in the home of his maternal uncle James Henshaw at Wellington Road North. James was the oldest surviving son of Joseph's maternal grandfather William Henshaw. When William died in 1854, he eventually, after some years, took over the business of the Stockport lorry works. He was a master blacksmith and wheelwright and employed a few people. On the 2nd of October 1886, he played on the right wing for Old Radford Church against Trinity Swift Amateurs at their ground in Carlton, Nottingham, in a football game. The game ended 1 goal each. On the 30th of October 1886, he scored a goal for Old Radford Church on the Forest Recreation Ground in a 4-3 win over Social Guild. The Forest Recreation Ground is now the area where the Goose Fair takes place each year. On the 6th of November 1886, he played on the right wing for Old Radford Church at Sneinton at the Meadows in Nottingham. This was the first round of the Express Challenge Cup. On the 11th of December 1886, he plays on the Forest Ground again against YMCA. This comes from the Nottingham Daily Express, Tuesday the 14th of December 1886, page 7. On the 29th of January 1887, he plays as a forward for Old Radford Church against St John's FC in a 2-1 defeat. On the 17th of February 1889 he married Sophia Annie Ringrose at St Paul's Church, Hyson Green in Nottingham. Hyson Green is an area in Nottingham which is quite close to Radford and very close within the area of the Forest Recreation Grounds. Joseph's address at the time of marriage was 29 Denman Street, Radford. Sophia's address was 63 Fisher Street, Radford. The witnesses to the marriage were Joseph Thomas Ringrose and Charlotte Ringrose, who were Sophia's siblings. Sophia Annie Ringrose was the daughter of Henry Pride Ringrose, who was a framework knitter, and his wife Sophia. The witnesses, Joseph Thomas Ringrose and Charlotte Ringrose, eventually emigrated. Joseph Thomas Ringrose went to Manitoba in Canada, and Charlotte went to Philadelphia in the USA. On the 31st of August 1889, Joseph and Sophia's daughter Lillian Pennington was born at 1 St Cuthbert's Court, just off the steep hill area of the city near the cathedral. After marrying Sophia, Joseph and his wife settled in the city of Lincoln. He worked as a blacksmith at John Cooke Sons Ploughworks at their Linden Works on Monk's Road. They were one of the biggest makers of ploughs in Lincolnshire and also made wagons and other implements for agriculture. Lillian was baptised in Nottingham at St Peter's Church, Radford, on the 2nd of October 1889, on the same day as one of her cousins, Sophia May Ringrose. There is a christening photo of Lillian and her mother from this date that was taken in Nottingham, which we have. We also have one of her around 2 years old that was taken in Lincoln. On the 5th of April 1891, at the time of the census, they were living at 1 St Cuthbert's Court, and Joseph was still a blacksmith. The family had moved a short distance to 4 Danes Terrace by the 18th of January 1892, when their son Arthur Pennington was born. The son Frederick Pennington, named after Joseph's brother, was born at this address on the 20th of January 1894, but sadly died there on the 9th of April in the same year. He was buried at St Michael and All Angels Church, which is just off Steep Hill in Lincoln. On the 12th of August 1895, his daughter Dorothy Pennington was born at 4 Danes Terrace. The baptism register gives Joseph as a foundryman. We have a photo of her around age 1, and also one of the whole family taken not long after this at Skegness. That photo also shows Sophia's sister Priscilla on the left of the photo, with her husband behind her. The 1901 census was taken on the 1st of April in that year. At this time, Joseph, his wife Sophia, daughter Lillian, son Arthur, and Dorothy, his daughter, were living at 9 Cromwell Street. Cromwell Street is off Monk's Road in Lincoln, not far from the Arboretum. On the 27th of June 1903, he made 32 not out for the Lincoln Constitutional Cricket Club. From looking at papers, this was possibly his highest score. He played cricket for them on and off between 1899 to 1913. Joseph's son Arthur also played for the team briefly. Joseph was on the Lincoln Constitutional Cricket Club's committee also, and on the 6th of July 1904 he took 2 wickets for no runs against the Liberal club and was run out for 21. This comes from the Lincolnshire Chronicle of the 19th of July 1904, page 3. On the 30th of December 1905, his wife Sophia died of pulmonary tuberculosis and exhaustion at 9 Florence Street. She was just 37 years old. On the 8th of February 1907, he was named as captain of the Lincoln Constitutional Reserve Club team. Joseph was also a football referee, and from the papers it seems that he began refereeing around 1909. From the Lincolnshire Echo of the 25th of February 1909, he reported Lincoln St Peter's Institute football team for leaving the field and refusing to complete the match. On the 13th of April 1909, he refereed the junior field final at Lincoln City Football Ground between St Botolph's and Corinthians. The kick-off was at 5:45 and tickets were 3p each. This comes from the Lincoln Chronicle of the 5th of April 1909, page 3. It also says in the article that referees and officials did not get paid money for that match. He also played for Lincoln Constitutional Football Club. I have a photograph of Joseph with the team where he is sitting on the football. He was named treasurer of the Lincoln Constitutional Football Club on the 20th of July 1909. On the 2nd of April 1911 he was in the census at 9 Florence Street. He was listed as a blacksmith and aged 43, with his children Lillian, aged 21, Arthur, aged 19, and Dorothy, aged 15. On the 7th of August 1916 he married Caroline Ann Wright at All Saints Church on Monk's Road in Lincoln. Joseph's address at the time of marriage was 1 Cromwell Street. Caroline Ann Wright was the daughter of somebody called Marmaduke Wright. On the 11th of November 1919 his father Samuel Pennington died at 16 Todd Street, Stockport, in the home of Joseph's brother Charles, his wife or separated wife, who was present at the death. Joseph himself died on the 9th of March 1920. The cause of death was a perforated duodenal ulcer, bifurcation, peritonitis and emphysema. A lot of the information about this video, specifically Joseph's football and cricket, I've gained from looking at the British newspaper archive. The dates of death and births of people I've got from the civil registration of births, marriages and deaths, which I got through getting certificates from gro.gov.uk. When you go to apply for a birth certificate, it's much easier if you register with gro.gov.uk, and then you can search the indexes for births and deaths. And the interesting thing about looking at the births is that it gives the parent's maiden surname. So in relation to Joseph William Pennington, his birth reference on the GRO website is 1867 in the September quarter in the district of Stockport, volume 8A, page 69. And in the index transcriptions it gives the mother's maiden surname. So that's invaluable to look into when trying to research further back on the tree. If you are searching for a marriage, you can't search for them via the GRO directly. You have to first search via familysearch.org or Find My Past. Then find the details of the marriage you want to order a certificate for, and then order that certificate via the GRO website. Information from censuses I've got from going to a website called familysearch.org. On there you can just register yourself if you'd like, and then enter search terms into the system to look at the database, and then see what search results come up from there. Other free websites to use for genealogy which can be quite good are FreeReg and FreeSend2. On websites like Ancestry and Find My Past, you have to pay to view census information and other records. I have used screenshots of my family tree on Ancestry, and also screenshots I have used from Joseph's gallery part of the tree, where I have typed up articles from the British newspaper archives, such as his cricket and football information mainly. The information about Joseph's mother and his siblings' time in Nottingham Union Workhouse, the death of Samuel, and daughter Lillian's baptism date comes from information researched by my mother's second cousin. The photograph dishing the wigs originally came from Fun magazine of 24th of April 1867, page 251, and can be found on the Wikipedia article named Reform Act 1867. The 1899 John Cooke Sons advert comes from Grace's Guide. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it has been of some interest, and I will see you again on the next video. Thank you for watching.